Thought I saw her somewhere. Let's see.
I'm here.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you
Thank
today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good. Thank you for coming back on. All right, everybody, our first speaker of today is Breanna Copening. She is a SkillBridge program specialist at GE HealthCare. She's already helped a couple of our SkillBridgers get some awesome OJT opportunities, so she's here to chat with you guys today. Thank you for coming back on. Kind of give yourself an introduction, tell them who you are and exactly what you do for the people that haven't met you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me again. As Kylie mentioned, my name is Brianna. I've been with GE Healthcare for, I think this will be my fourth year. And I've been working with military for two and a half of those years. As Kylie mentioned, we had the opportunity to bring two 7 Eagle Skill Bridge on for OJT. One of them we were able to align with a permanent role, so we were happy to be able to do that. And while I work specifically with SkillBridge and the active duty transitioning, I also try and do my best to support everyone actually who needs anything with regards to GE Healthcare or just resume support. Whatever you need, I'm happy to help if I can.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of got you into helping veterans within GE in the first place? Is it something you really wanted to do, or were you just kind of put in that spot and you really enjoyed it, so you stayed?
I think it was a little bit of both. So we have a few different military programs at GE Healthcare. I started off in our apprentice program, coordinating that, and was just looking for other opportunities. And then I was introduced to our extern program, which is another military program that we offer. And from there, I just gained a passion for supporting the military. I'm not military myself, but I have a lot of military within my family. So with that passion and making the connections with our veterans within the company really helped like increase that interest for me.
Yeah, yeah. Could you talk a little bit about kind of the climate and culture within GE Healthcare and if it's really military friendly? I'm sure it is because we've seen you bring on a couple and have them really thrive. So talk a little bit more on that.
Yes, so GE Healthcare as a whole, which is over 50,000 employees, 10% are veterans or military. And then within our service, which is our field engineers, our biomedical technicians, things of that. We have 20% veteran presence there. So not only is it we are very saturated with veterans in the company. We have a very involved veterans network across not just our country, but across countries in general. So one of our more active hubs is our Europe hub. And they actually just did like a Everest climb recently. So we have a very active veterans network who not only tries to support the veteran community outside of GE Healthcare, but within GE Healthcare, as well as their families. So, like for example, we keep a running list of individuals who we have deployed at the moment, making sure that their families are checked on and taken care of, making sure that they have what they need, that they're welcome back when they come back. It's the climate, the culture is very supportive. It is only a fraction, I think, of that community that you get while you're inside the military because, we're still all across the country. But we all do a really good job of trying to make sure that everyone is taken care of.
Yeah, no, that's super amazing. I feel like we all expect to kind of lose that a little bit because, like you said, the military is a different world of that community. But out of somebody coming in, it might be uplifting to realize that companies can kind of have that same culture and be super supportive of them as well. That's why I asked, what does a typical day in your role look like? Like what's today gonna look like for you?
My role is extremely flexible, which is great. I run SkillBridge program along with my partner who may pop in, by the way. You all haven't had an opportunity to meet my partner, George, who came on through SkillBridge. He is a 20-year Air Force veteran, and he then was able to get a full-time role running SkillBridge alongside me. So I run that program. I also run the extern program. We have six externs on program this year, and that's just a 9 month rotation that is very structured. So checking in with them, making sure that they have all that they need. I also lead our Army Pays program, a smaller program, but so I'll look at those applications and see if there's anything I can do there. But other than that, I have a very, very chill day today. I don't have much to do. Which with GE Healthcare, because every role they like to say is like your own business, your own small business. I would say that most roles are very flexible in that way. Not just for like military as you're transitioning, we understand the appointments that you have to satisfy and things like that. But just in general, it's very, very flexible. I was very sick yesterday and I don't remember looking at my computer. So not much to do today.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. We love flexibility in here. I feel like a lot of people in here have been through some crazy hours and things that they couldn't stop or they had no choice in. So I'm sure at least I would say over half the people in here are looking for something that's really flexible and really willing to work with them and their families. So that's really good to hear. You kind of mentioned it earlier, but what kind of roles does GE Healthcare bring on for their Skill Bridge program? Can you explain those couple of roles a little bit better?
Yeah, thank you actually for bringing that up because it's called GE Healthcare, we often get caught up on the healthcare piece and a lot of people kind of put the role or the company out of their mind because they think that they're not in healthcare and can't contribute to the company. Um GE Healthcare, it works with medical devices. So yes, we are in hospitals and we do a lot with healthcare. However, there are also a lot of supportive roles. So, um, you can almost do anything and come and work for GE Healthcare. For our Skill Bridge program, it is very flexible and kind of small still. So we have placed Skill Bridge in field engineer, biomedical technician roles, project management. The two that we've had from Seven Eagle, they both work in our service training and development. We have placed in um, technical roles, customer service. So basically, the opportunities are endless. We've placed in human resources, cybersecurity. I couldn't name all the roles that we have. The way that we look at it though is we usually send individuals to our career site, tell us what you're interested in. That gives me an idea of who to reach out to. It also gives me an opportunity to look at job descriptions and see how it aligns with your resume. And it also tells me who I should reach out to. But also, we have a form. We take your resume and things that you may have thought were out of your reach. We look at your resume and we see if we have any opportunities that align with skills that you already have as well.
Wow, that's really cool. So somebody doesn't have to specifically know. A lot of people in here are changing what they want to do. So do they need to specifically know, I want to go into this field? Or could they schedule a meeting with you and be like, hey, Brianna, I'm really good at this. I love doing this. This is my experience. Would you be able to kind of coach them and help them find a role that might fit them really well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, amazing. That's really, really cool. And is it always, you mentioned earlier that you've placed one of our skill bridgers into a role, which is amazing. How does it look? Is there always a role open when you take on a skill bridger? Or is it you take them on for skill bridge and then you kind of see where it can go from there?
That's a great question. So with LC, Laura Catherine, she came to me after one of these meetings and she said, "Hey, I have a month left. A month is not a lot of time. Onboarding takes at least a couple of weeks to get you equipment and whatnot. So, I spoke with a manager who has been very eager about getting SkillBridge and just could use a lot of support on her team. And she was willing to take on Laura Catherine, and right away she mentioned, like, a month is not a long time. I don't think I'll have a role for her. In all transparency, I like to be very transparent. I went back to LC and let her know, hey, we can bring you on for some OJT, but it's very unlikely that we'll have a role. So, um, we like to have a role, but more so, we like to make sure that both the manager and the candidate has information to make an informed decision. So, no, there isn't always a role, but we depending on how much time you have, we're checking with managers to see if there is a role. We're also, if you have more than 30 days, about 45 days out from your end date, we're also checking in with the manager to see if there's a role, because business needs can change. We are seeing if staying is still what you want to do. And we're taking initiative and reaching out to other managers, other teams to see if there is somewhere else that we could possibly place you. So it's a collaborative effort. And more importantly, you're in the know the entire time.
Okay, amazing. What about for some people in here? So we don't just host skill bridgers, we have veterans and military spouses as well. If
Mhm.
they're looking on GE Healthcare and they think they're looking at a job ad and they're really interested, would you be can they contact you and kind of chat with you about that as well? Or are you strictly just the skill bridge side?
Another good question. I am strictly just skill bridge. However, as I mentioned, I'm happy to help as much as I can. So in those cases, I like to use my HR powers for good, and we can still look at your resume, see how it aligns with roles, make sure that you have a good contact to reach out to, and just see the best way that I can support you in that way. But as far as like me specifically being able to align you with a role, it would only be skill bridge.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Olivia, go ahead. Oh, sorry, were you gonna say something else, Brianna?
I was just gonna say, I think my partner George popped in, and I would love for you all to be able to hear from him.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Hey
George, speak
everybody.
up. Hello,
Hi,
welcome.
sorry I'm late.
No problem. We're happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Let me try to
No, thank
spotlight
you.
you as well. I can't find you. George, there you are.
Uh,
Add spotlight. There he is. Thank you so much for taking the time. Kind of introduce yourself to everybody. Brianna gave you a little soft introduction, but
yeah. No, thank you guys for having us. I'm George, as Breanna mentioned. I retired from the Air Force back in December of 2024. I was able to come on through SkillBridge onto GE Healthcare to help Breanna run the SkillBridge program. And now to include the extern program, it's another military program within the company. With that being said, Skillbridge is a great segue into getting full-time employment. It's like a live interview. It showcases your skills, how you mesh well, and team dynamics with different organizations within the company. So I'm a true testament to the Skillbridge program. After that, I was able to segue into a full-time role, which I'm doing now. I'm still running the Skillbridge program, and we both co-lead both Skillbridge and externship. So I don't know how many people are eligible for SkillBridge or interested in SkillBridge, but I think Brianna mentioned that we can also help you guys, um, segue into full-time roles with connecting with the TA managers as well as hiring managers within the company. But that's all
yeah,
I got. Thank you guys.
no, I appreciate it, George. For a little background knowledge, everybody on here, most of the people on here as well, are currently in Skillbridge with us, and we bring you guys on to kind of give them more opportunities somewhere that could be a better fit for them. So everybody in here is a transitioning veteran right now. So thank you so much for sharing your story. It's really good to kind of hear a successful story. We can hear Brianna comes on here and tells us how amazing GE is, but it's really cool to see somebody who's gone through her program and really came out on top. So we appreciate you being here.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Olivia, go ahead with your question.
Thanks, Kelly. Morning, Brianna and George. Thanks for coming on here. Brianna, you mentioned that you, regardless of what you mean, look, be looking for, that there's potential opportunities with GE Health. So when you're looking at someone coming from the military with military background, what specific skills do you find or experiences tend to translate really to careers in GE Healthcare?
So we have a great relationship with our technical field team. So that is always a very easy transition. However, skills in general, first, which we brag about when it comes to military in general, is initiative. Being able to be a self-starter, get out there and apply the skills that you do have right away has been very impactful. Two, specifically in customer facing roles in our very online world now, those interpersonal soft skills have been so important. And really help you to stand out, which is crazy that I just named two things that really aren't taught. These not things that you go to school for, but everything else can be taught. So if you have the initiative, the interest, and you can talk with people, then managers are more inclined to take a chance and move forward with you.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah, awesome question, Olivia. Thanks for starting us off. Christopher, go ahead.
Good morning, Brianna. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here too, George. This is a question I have because you mentioned when coming on through SkillBridge with GE Healthcare, it's like starting a business. So depending on what position you're in, is it like starting a business and that you too will also be recruiting your own team members?
That's a good question. Likely no, you don't have to like recruit your own team members unless that is required for the role. But when I say a business is that you take your the primary purpose of your role and you find the most efficient way to do it. You don't have a lot of like micromanaging going on. People really just trust you to do your job. Um, and with that too, once you find the best way to do your job and maybe pass that on, or you're ready to move on, um, it's a GE Healthcare is never a place where you have to be stagnant. Like you can move across the organization whenever you feel like, if you have the skills to do so. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it kind of does. I'm just asking because I'm kind of in a self-starting business position part-time right now with global financial impact, but I'm not exactly sure if that's the ideal position for me to be in. So I'm looking at other opportunities. So I appreciate you answering that question, and I think you answered it very well.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris. Carlos, what's up?
Hey, Brianna, George, thank you for coming in. You definitely making my day because I'm about to retire and I still don't know what the heck I want to do with the rest of my life. But I'm prior medical and then I reclass into the IT world. So I have two questions for you that's gonna help me out. What would you recommend for someone that has no medical certification at this moment?
With regards to GE Healthcare?
Exactly. Yes, in regards to the skill bridge.
Um, Most of our roles you don't need any medical certification for anyway. I'd have to look at your resume to get a better idea of what I would recommend in terms of roles. But you mentioned being in IT, so um I would say that our cyber department has been a little more difficult to get people into lately. However, depending on how much time you have and what you're interested in, our IT department is great and they're looking for people. So that could be somewhere you could go. Also with IT, we have our technical support engineers. That's huge. with IT. We have our patient care solutions team. So you have options for sure. I just have to look at your resume to get a better idea of which aligns best for you.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, I'm sorry, another question. So when you're reviewing applications, what immediately makes a candidate stand out to you in a positive way?
George, you want to answer that?
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Carlos. I think the
Hey,
biggest thing with resumes is just making sure your skills align with the role you're applying for. I know a lot of times you hear people just start spamming jobs just to see what kind of sticks. And that's a kind of a turnoff with HR and just people looking at your resume that if you're applying for, let's just say, a technical role, and you have no troubleshooting experience, and you're just listing, other skills that you may have, that could be, like I said, a turn off to the person looking at it, just saying like, okay, does this guy know exactly what he's working, what he's looking to do within the company? So I think that's one of the biggest points.
awesome. Hey, thank you both for coming in and thank you for the guidance. I'll be looking forward to sending you my stuff.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the awesome questions, Carlos. Emily, go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you guys for being here. So, during the transition process, are there things you've noticed veterans tend to underestimate about themselves or their value?
Um, I can answer this from a civilian perspective, and maybe George can answer it from his. For myself, working in this position, I have absolutely seen a lot of imposter syndrome. Um, and I think that part of it is um the translating the military experience to the corporate workforce, which we not only do we help you do, we also have a team of volunteers through our Veterans Network who helps translate that information. But I'd say that would be the biggest thing is just the appreciating the experience that you do have in whatever capacity it is and translating it over into the corporate workforce. George, anything you notice from veteran resumes?
No, I think the biggest thing is just being open, willing to learn. I know in the military, coming out of the military, we've done thousands of jobs, manage people at, early on in your career. Just be willing, open to learn. It's different, you're segueing into the commercial side, and just slow down. I know in the military it's 1,000 miles an hour. In the commercial side, it's a little more definitely professional, but it's a little more slower pace. So just be willing, open to learn. That's what I have.
Yeah, great advice from both the
Yes.
sides. Thank you, Emily. Dia Monique, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. So, what both of you guys said kind of leads into my question. A lot of military experience doesn't directly translate in civilian terms. What advice would you give veterans on how to better communicate their experience in a way that hiring managers would understand?
For me, I continue to try and work on this with our military resumes. I would first start with the language that you use. So I would take anything out that says soldiers. It could just be people. Um, you led people. Take out missions. That can be projects. Um, just using first, you should use the language from the job description that you are applying to. Using the same language is helpful for a couple of reasons. First reason, the recruiter usually doesn't know much about the job that they're hiring for beyond what the job description says. So if you're using the same language that's in the job description and a recruiter is looking at it, they are going to feel like you align with the job because they're seeing the same language. And then secondly, just like it could be difficult for you all to translate your military experience into the corporate world, it can be difficult for civilians to appreciate the military experience when it's not in a language that is palatable for them. So changing that language helps both the recruiter and the hiring manager understand your experience.
Thank you.
Yeah, great questions this morning, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Nick, good morning.
Morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday, Tuesday-ish. So my question is, how do we get in front of you? I might have missed it. Is there like, do we just go to your LinkedIn, schedule an appointment? Is there like a website we hit up? Or how do we get our resume in front of you and have a conversation with you?
If you send me a LinkedIn message, I'll get to you. And we can start from there. And then we can schedule something.
Thank you again.
Yeah, everybody, and I dropped their LinkedIn's in the chat, so definitely go connect with them. Katie, good morning.
Hi, good morning. My question is, what's one mindset shift that is important when moving from the military into a company like GE Healthcare?
George, I'll let you answer that.
Yes, sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes. What's one mindset shift that's important when moving from the military into a company like GE Healthcare?
Yeah, just like I mentioned earlier, just be open-minded, be willing to learn. Going back to the resume part, biggest thing is you can talk to your resume. So if you do make it to the interview portion, I think the biggest takeaway is if they ask you questions about the company, make sure you know the mission of GE Healthcare, right? A lot of it, the end of it, healthcare doesn't mean that you have to be a licensed practitioner. Our main mission is to procure service and or issue out medical equipment, life-saving equipment that you would see in the hospital. So I think the biggest takeaway is making sure that you can speak to what the company does and to speak how your skills align with your resume.
If I could add to that too, I think that getting out of the military, from my experience of talking or my observation more so, um, I think one shift is you don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to be alone in this process, which is why we have things such as Skill Bridge, where George and I are here to support you through that process. But we also, again, have our Veterans Network. We have opportunities for mentors. So I think that there is kind of this idea while transitioning out of the military that you're kind of starting a new life. You're going into the workforce, some for the very first time because you've made a career out of the military. And I think as adults, we feel like we have to have it all figured out. Or if we don't have it figured out, to figure it out on our own. And I think shifting that mindset and being willing and to reach out for support is helpful.
Definitely. Thank you.
Oh, and I forgot, I don't know if you mentioned this, Bree, but GE Healthcare is 20% veteran. So we're huge veteran population within the company.
Nicholas?
Was I muted? Did that come through what I just said?
No.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. Andrew, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
It's
All
Monday
right.
for
Sorry.
us.
Yeah, no worries. Hey, so thanks for joining us today, Breanna and George. So regarding GE and GE Healthcare in particular, how can veterans find mentors or allies within a company such as this to guide them after they join, they potentially get a role with the company?
Yeah, I can take this one, Bree. Uh, Good question, Andrew. biggest thing for us is if you do come on through SkillBridge or full time, we actually set you up with a mentor. Now it's all, preference based, but we would like to, during your onboarding through SkillBridge at GE Healthcare, we make sure that we set you up with somebody, whether it's the same rank, whether it's a rank above, whatever the case is, female, male, whatever you're comfortable with, we will find a mentor for you so you guys can connect and get another perspective of the company and the role that you're doing.
And I'm very involved in the Veterans Network, and they're all very eager. I have some favorites. I actually have a military mentor myself, and he is awesome. He's probably the first person I introduce everyone to. But we have so many individuals, and this is across different like bands as well. So this is executive level all the way down. So many people who are willing to support you, and they do it really, really well. So that's one thing that I don't think would be lacking if you were to come on board with us, whether that's SkillBridge or full time.
Yeah, do they get that option as well if they just come on through a normal position rather than SkillBridge? Can they get a mentor through that?
Yes. Yeah, so many people. So we have an abundance of individuals who are looking for ways to give back.
Awesome. Ace, did you have a question? I saw your hand up for a while, but then you put it down. Want to make sure we got to you. Maybe he left? Okay. No big deal. George, can you kind of talk a little bit about how your skill bridge went and just how it went for you and what made you want to stick with the company long term?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. So prior to coming into GE Healthcare, I started off as a logistics guy in the Air Force and then segued into being a recruiter for 12 years. So that was a good segue into the role. The role itself was great. I was able to use my talent acquisition background, my program manager background in the Air Force. And I don't know if you guys know, but SkillBridge with DoD or DOW now has been around since 2010. However, for SkillBridge, it's only been around for going on 3 years now. So it's fairly new to the company outside of our partners and competitors. So the biggest takeaway was for me was, and Bree, since we co-led the program, is making those internal connections as well as external connections. So definitely highlighting going to meetings, meeting with managers, telling them how awesome you guys are, how great the program is, and why they should bring on a veteran to their team. So, in a nutshell, that's what it was.
Yeah, no, thank you. Like Bree said, it had to be how awesome she was. I can't see any other option.
You forgot that part.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He left that one out, but she made sure to mention it for him.
She's
Uh,
okay. She's okay on Fridays only.
Talking a little bit more about, I know it's not as SkillBridge connected, but I feel like you guys would both be really knowledgeable and at meeting with so many veterans. What's a way that the guys in here could really step up their interview game? We have a lot of conversations where they get to the interview and then it doesn't go anywhere after that. Do you guys have some tips or tricks to kind of be really successful in that interview?
Oh, um, let me see. I've had an interview in a long time. So I think that one, practice. Practice is it helps. I think getting rid of the nerves too. Try talking with myself or George. I haven't seen George interview, but he has like 20 years experience, so I know he's great at it. When I talk with people, especially military very nervous, and I don't even interview people. Like ours is just a conversation. And I think when people are nervous, they either say too much or say too little. So if you are talking with me and you say too much, I'll tell you like, let's keep that between us. We when you talk to the next guy, don't mention that part. Um, and then too little, you want to answer what they are asking of you, but you want to still have a personality too. So, asking your own questions, trying to make sure that it relates to the job still, but you don't have to sound like a robot. Um, and that would be two things that I would say, but I also want to mention that it is a terrible job market right now. So you not getting past the interview could have nothing to do with you. And I don't want you to, while that feels terrible, I don't want that to be a hindrance for you, or for you to like get down on yourself. Um, but that's my advice.
I would add to that is be yourself, right? I know in the military we get so strung up on definitely be professional. I'm not saying, hey, let your hair down and unwind, but I think speaking with managers, they're looking for team dynamics, right? How you'll mesh with their team. So just be yourself. If you have a great personality, let that show through the interview. But again, be professional about it, and don't be so serious.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's the number one advice we get from all of our mentors. So, if anything with interviews, just be yourself. Obviously, like George said, be professional, but they read your resume, they know that you have the qualifications to be in the interview, so they want to see what your personality is like. Appreciate that from you both. I just have one last question for you guys, so I'm asking if anybody else has anything else, go ahead and raise your hand. But I wanted to get from both of you just a last piece of advice, what you would leave with these skill bridgers just kind of think about, or maybe a good words of wisdom to get them through this tough time, just to leave us off on.
Um, So I would say networking is very, 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 very important. How you go about it can be difficult, but it is important to get to know people. General LinkedIn messages can be overwhelming, especially if you're reaching out to a recruiter. Often their inboxes are overly saturated, so that may not be the best way to get insight into a company or into a specific role. Sometimes people who don't work as recruiters, who just work for the company, may be an easier way to learn about the company, get another contact to talk with. So you can try that approach as well. And then it doesn't have to be, hey, I'm interested in a role, let's talk about it. Be genuine about, or maybe it's not genuine to say I just want to talk, but informational interviews. Reach out and say, hey, I just want to chat about what you do, and use that conversation as an opportunity to talk more about the company and move forward from there. So LinkedIn can be a good platform, but I wouldn't solely depend on it either.
Yeah. Yeah, great advice. I found starting the conversation with asking somebody for something isn't the best way to go about it. So that was great advice. George?
Yeah, my approach is a little different. I definitely recruiter stock through LinkedIn, just because my window was getting short. So, th sometimes the hiring managers are on LinkedIn on the roll, but like Bree mentioned, if you see somebody else within the company, reach out. And I like the not to ask directly, but more of a transactional thing. Like, hey, can I get to know you a little bit better about the company, in your role, in the setting that you're in, whatever the case is. But I did reach out to Bree on LinkedIn. I just told her, hey, I appreciate your time. I did submit my resume. Um, if you want, we can connect and just ask some more questions, just open dialogue questions like that. So it was a little
Yeah.
different, but it worked for me.
Yeah. Worked
And
out
thank you,
great for
Bree.
George, so maybe it'll work for one of you, one of you guys. You see, he's on here successfully doing it, so you never know. Well, I really appreciate you guys both coming on. George, it was great having you on as the new addition. Hopefully, we'll see you back here in our upcoming sessions with Breanna. But thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day.
Yes, thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
Yeah, absolutely. We will see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your